Okay, I haven't done one of these for a while, and I've kind of been putting it off a little bit, but I feel like now is time. So I've got more things that I want to talk about. Um, my name's Oliver. I play badminton. I got my results recently from A-levels. They were a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. And I wanted to kind of... The whole point of me doing these videos is trying to talk openly and express myself more freely, because I feel like sometimes I used to be a lot more expressive in person, like a lot more, and it always kind of backfired on me. Like, I've been called mentally ill before when I was in secondary school for being quite expressive and talking about my feelings sometimes. I wouldn't say I'm a particularly sensitive person, but I feel like the more open you are nowadays, you just get called like mentally ill, and you get told to kind of keep everything in, and I don't really agree with it. But I mean, the world isn't perfect, so sometimes you have to kind of comply and do things to put yourself in a better situation. But this channel is kind of my way of how do I phrase it? It's just my way of being myself, because I haven't really felt like myself a lot recently. I felt kind of like, when you're just going through things and they're not going well and you don't feel like yourself, but you're kind of living in someone else's body in a way, or you're not in your own body. That's what I felt like this last maybe, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks, no, 2 weeks. I've had a lot of change. I've had sometimes I don't adapt very well to change. I get a bit anxious at things, but I've had a lot of change. It's a bit stupid, I've been clubbing one time. I've had my first proper job, like rejection. I got rejected from my first choice of uni. I had a badminton tournament today, which let me get it. I actually won in the mixed event. I'll show. It's quite like a heavy medal. It's got some weight behind it. But I was going to do the normal doubles open event, and my partner got ill the day before, so I had to drop out of that. And I feel like a lot hasn't been going my way recently. Don't get me wrong, I've had some good things in my life, and it's always important to be grateful and remember, like, there's good in everything. I get it. I do get it. It can be hard sometimes to fully appreciate the gracious gift of life, and remember, you only be young once, you only live once, and it's better to be kind of embrace the positivity rather than focus on negativity. But I've kind of been focusing a bit more on the negativity really recently. I've been trying not to, but it's been hitting me a bit like a truck. And yeah, I've been told by my therapist a few months ago to keep making these videos. I don't see that therapist anymore, and I haven't done those videos for a few months, but I feel like it would be a good time to kind of make it a more weekly thing. I'm still not completely comfortable, so I'm going to adjust this. It's really skew with. I still don't find it very comfortable, like talking to a camera. It's a bit weird, I'm not used to it. I don't mind public speaking. I'm not great at public speaking. I guess this isn't really public speaking, but yeah. But I find what helps me focus better is being in really natural light. So I set up a candle, and sometimes at night I walk around holding a candle like Ebenezer Scrooge, just kind of doing my old man walk around the house, and that always helps me sleep better, feel better. I'm not sure what it is. I think natural light must just be a good thing, like a really good thing for your brain. So it's kind of a way of not really coping, but getting used to talking in front of the camera again, having like a nice safety object. But anyway, yeah, a lot of things haven't been going my way recently, and I just wanted to talk about them a bit. So for starters, I got 2 B's in PE and psychology, which I'm a bit disappointed about. I wanted an A in both of them. And I got a D in biology, which biology is kind of widely considered like the hardest A level. So I wouldn't say I'm particularly academic, so I really shouldn't be that surprised, but it was kind of a punch in the gut waking up at 8 a.m, opening the results, seeing the email saying I didn't get in, and kind of having to deal with that. I feel a lot of things have been making me feel physically sick recently. Like, I feel it in my stomach all the time. Just, the last few days have been quite tough for me. Kind of, in a way, emotionally. I've been having some more negative thoughts, which kind of reminded me about a few years ago, which I thought I was completely done with. It turns out I don't know if I am. I'm not sure I was going to go on with that. But yeah, that's been quite a struggle, and I got rejected I got to the final stage of an application at Hollywood Bowl, and I got rejected at the end after I thought it was made clear to me that I had the job if I wanted it. I'm not sure what happened, but apparently I didn't get it. It happens. But yeah, the thing that sucks is I had high expectations for both my results and my job application. And something with, when you have hope for something and you don't get it, it feels kind of like a huge letdown, and you just feel horrible. So I find some people say just don't have any hope, any self-confidence in a way. And I don't get that. I feel like never believing in yourself to get something, or kind of denying something is ever happening, is just a really mentally, or it really destroys your self-esteem. Like, it breaks it down. So even if you're not getting hurt in the short term, say you get rejected from a job and you're like, oh, I never thought I was going to get that job anyway, it makes it easier in the short term, but over the longer term, your view of yourself just gets more and more like, I'm worthless, I can't do this, why am I here? And I've had those thoughts over the past few years. I've been okay in college. I've been pretty much just existing in college. I've been doing my badminton in the winter. I've been pretty focused on that, and I've just been enjoying the summer. But a few years ago, in year 10 and year 11, like something happened that really, well, I wasn't having a good time because of something that happened in year 10, which I don't know if I can talk about physically. Like, I'm not sure I can actually bring myself to talk to it to the world, or like the few people that are watching this, if any. But I'm not really making this to show others, I don't feel. Like, I might tell a few people about this, but it's more just throwing myself into the abyss of the internet and, just putting things out there, getting them off my mind. I find people say that, talking to someone else about your feelings helps those feelings. And that may be true, but I've done that before again, and it hasn't gone very well. You get people making bad perceptions of you. They think you might be mentally ill because you're expressive, and like, I've kind of dimmed myself down because of that in the past. But with the internet, I feel I just don't care as much what people think. I care what people think in my life, in my actual day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month life. When I see people, I really care about people's thoughts there and feelings about me, even though people say you shouldn't. I don't know. I think it's important to want to be perceived well. It's human nature. If you're perceived well, you've got a high chance of reproducing, high chance of survival. It's all it's all deep rooted in our psychology. God, Nick and Angie would be so happy with me right now. Nick is currently climaxing as I speak, but I don't talk to people in person about my emotions, especially negative ones. It doesn't happen, and I'm not sure if it ever will happen. Which, I shouldn't be saying that. Maybe one day it will happen, and I'll gain, I'm not even going to say the confidence, I'll gain the trust in someone to not have their subconscious changed by what I say. Like, I think right now I don't trust anyone enough to talk to them properly and on a deep level. I'm not even talking romantically either, although that could be a part of it, but also I just mean platonically and family wise. I'm just not there. I've never really been a super close person with my family. I love my family. I get along well with my family. I try and participate, but I've never been I've never really been a core part of it, I feel. I've always been the least, not least important part, but least, I guess, essential part to it. I've just been the add-on, which I don't mind. I sometimes wish I didn't want to be the add-on, but I think I do. I don't like people pitying me when I talk openly to them. So I'm getting really off track. What else did I want to talk about? I just went on like a 5-minute rant about nothing. I'll talk about my badminton today. So I played with a girl called Beth today, and I really enjoyed playing with her, and we did really well. We actually won, as I shared the medal earlier, and that made me feel good. I think one thing that always helps me, right, like when, for example, right now I'm feeling down, a bit not really nihilistic, but I feel a bit lower, and competition always really helps me. Not silly competition, like, you know, like competing for girls and whatever, like, I don't get that. You know, fighting over girls, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I feel competition is a way of me expressing myself. I am more open during a badminton game about my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, even if it's towards badminton, than I am at any other point in my life. Any other point. Maybe it's not the competition, maybe the competition just makes me more open, so I can express my emotions to people like Beth, and it's actually the expressing my emotions that helps. I hadn't thought about that, but anyway, I'm not going to try and think too deeply about it, even though that is kind of the point of the video, or well, my video, to the void, aka the internet. But yeah, my partner Ollie, another Ollie, dropped out with me yesterday. You know, he had a 39-degree fever. It happens. He can't do anything about it. Well, he can't do much about it. But it was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And when I got that text message, I was out with someone else, and it kind of, I didn't think it would affect me as much as it did. Like, it really is just something else piling on to the onslaught of bad luck, but no, with bad news I'd gotten recently. Sorry, I keep rocking in my chair because I'm not that comfortable making this video. I'm trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, as someone told me to do a while ago, and this is a step towards it. I'm trying to make myself into somebody who I would like a lot more. You know, someone who pushes themselves, accepts change, is okay with change. Where was I? Yeah, it just felt really, not depressing, but it was a letdown. And I feel like that's been the theme this week, this 2 weeks. I've had some really high moments, like when I went out to the club. That was amazing, but I don't want to do that regularly. It's not for me. I'm not someone with high arousal and like who seeks, you know, I do seek adrenaline, but not in the form of parties or clubs, even though actually that's something else I wanted to talk about. I often feel like I'm missing out a lot. I feel like it's become a bit of like an epidemic among younger men, and I can't speak for younger women, obviously. I have a penis, but I'm assuming younger women as well. FOMO, the fear of missing out. I made a video talking about it probably about a year ago. Most of the videos I make don't get uploaded, but I think that one did, and I haven't taken it down yet. I feel like life is passing me by too quickly right now, and when I look back on my teenage years, I'm not going to have that many highlight memories. Like, I was talking to someone on Saturday, kind of midday afternoon, and in terms of like parties and, you know, physical interactions, all of that, what they said, like, they've done a lot more, and that's okay, but it at times kind of affects me. Not the fact that they've done more or they've done that, I don't mind that. It's the fact that I haven't at all, or much. I've never really been to a proper house party. I've been clubbing once, even though people may say, oh, it's overrated. Not being invited to any of that, or not being able to go to any of that, really sucks when you know other people are doing it. It really, really breaks you in a way, kind of breaks your perception of yourself again. I don't want this video to sound all doom and gloom. I'm generally a really happy person. I think I have a lot of self-confidence, even if I'm a bit more closed off in public. It's not a lack of self-confidence, it's just I'm like that due to things like my disposition and experiences. But yeah, the feeling of missing out really sucks. Like, it's horrible. And I think one way of beating that is staying off social media, because social media is kind of like a chamber of like experiences and, you know, laughter, you know, like all of that stuff. It is everywhere, and it makes you think everyone is having it, when in reality they're not. There are a few people that are experiencing it. Lots of people want to experience it, so they're liking the post or the reel or the TikTok or whatever, reposting it, and you see it and you think everyone's doing that. They're not. But that can be hard to remember. So I feel staying off social media as much as I can. I still do get like 2-3 hours a day in total on all of it, but I only really use it to text now. But yeah, it makes FOMO worse, I feel. I've struggled with it a lot. I think I'm going to wrap up the video soon because I don't want to keep repeating myself. I feel like I'm doing that just a little bit, just a lot. But yeah, I've been feeling a bit down recently. You know, I've had some people like into my life who I really enjoy being with and everything. You know, and they've been good parts, but there have also been bad parts. And it is part of life. Like, it just is part of life. It happens. It's always important to keep a clear mind and appreciate, as I said before, the gracious gift of life. It only happens once, that we know. And yeah, thank you for listening.